Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is John with Tommy's Top Picks here to bring you your flesh and blood weekly market update. If you like the content, hit subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking about the markets, anything you're particularly interested in or terrified of or excited for within the flesh and blood market. I love to interact, love to hear what you guys have to say and think. You guys are really sharp and point out things that I miss all the time, so I appreciate your feedback. Hit the share button. Apparently, it's really good for the algorithm. Even if you're not going to send the link to anyone, just clicking it apparently helps. So that would be nice and helpful for us. Costs you nothing but a click. Anyways, let's jump in and get into this market update. All right, so this week there's a little volatility, nothing too crazy. A little cooling, a little heating, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Unlimited boxes, Arcane Rising jumped 10% to 119. We've been talking about this, how we're hitting this max level and breaking through it a little bit. And we've been doing it for a while. Like we've been talking about this for months now. How eventually that supply is going to drain, and then once it does, this price will go up. Well, we're finally seeing it happen. Now, does that mean this is going to the moon? No, not at all. It just means we're reaching a new plateau. We don't know where that will be. It could go up for 2 more weeks and end up at 200 a box. It could go up no more and drop back down to say call it like 100 a box, and then we're in a new channel between 120 and 100, right? It could do a lot of different things at this point. This is the least certain time period for this sort of transition to a new plateau. So just sit back, relax, and watch. If you already got in at the lower levels, then enjoy the profit gains on paper. If you want to get rid of your Arcane Rising Unlimited, then now might be a good time to do it. Now, this is financial advice, obviously, but the price is pretty high. It's the highest it's ever been, in fact. And very interestingly, it's the highest any unlimited box has ever been, which is pretty interesting and impressive in a first time. So I will be watching this very closely over the weeks because this will be the model for what happens with probably the rest of these unlimited boxes over time. Now, this is where it gets tricky. After a while, I don't know what we're going to do with this because Unlimited's gone. There's no Unlimited anymore. We have 18 sets out, and we have this whole list keeps increasing down here. Uh, do we really want to keep tracking these? I mean, they're going to go up in value. They're obviously going to be collectible. There's going to be fewer and fewer of them, technically reprintable, but would they do that? Probably not. I don't know. Maybe WTR. So it's a tricky little situation with this transition of model. I'm not sure how we're going to handle it. For now, we're going to stay the course. We're going to keep tracking these, and ARC in particular will help model out what we will see with the rest of them. Yeah, it's a weird situation. So let's keep going. Anyways, but it's cool that ARC is finally doing what we've been saying for months that it will eventually do. And we'll see where that lands. I'll keep an eye on that. Anyways, Monarch down 5%. Nothing too surprising there. Guess it's reversion to the mean. Good news is it didn't drop all the way back to this 49 level. So that means it's an uptrend in general, but it's nothing crazy. It's just, kind of normal Monarch volatility, especially in unlimited. Unlimited cases, Arcane Rising also jumped 13% for this. So case of Arcane Unlimited is now 469. I believe this is the highest any unlimited case has ever been. I could be wrong on that because there was some times when, um, no, I don't know if they ever did kits for the unlimited releases for like Tales of Aria and such. So yeah, this may be the highest an unlimited case has ever been. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if you know for a fact that's true. Either way, same situation. We're seeing the reduction in supply slowly creeping up, spike up. We'll find a new high, a new plateau to hang out at for a while until supply drains again, and then it will climb again. But that will be some time. Nothing too exciting. It's what we expect. It's kind of what we were hoping to see happen. It shows a healthy drain of supply, no reprints, and market eating up old product, which is fantastic. And then on the Monarch side, same situation as above for the unlimited box. The case is down 10% instead of 5, 160. Given that this will eventually follow this, is this a steal? The big question here is how much did they print of unlimited? We know they printed an awful lot of first edition, and I think the unlimited printings pattern was to be like 4 times as much or a lot more. um, the question is, when unlimited came out, did they already realize that the first edition was overprinted? Because we don't know when they figured that out. If they did, then maybe this isn't as big a run as by comparison as the other ones. We don't know, but I would not park money in Monarch, generally speaking, personally, because it is a high supply and it will run out eventually. But I feel there's better places to put my money. Especially unlimited, because there's no guarantees on reprints there. There's no cold foils. There's a ton of reasons unlimited is really not an investable product on all of these. You're seeing it run out for ARC because people like the cards and want the cards, but ultimately these products are not made to be the investable part. The first edition is. Doesn't mean they can't be if people have nostalgia for them or whatever, but it's just they're not made for that. So I've always said, and if you go back to my other videos, yes, they are something you can hold on to and speculate on. No, they are not the primary investment. No, they are not the way you should, the way I am investing in this situation. I have a case of every unlimited that has come out on my shelf, and that's it. Like, I don't have further exposure because I know there's not much high upside chance. Whereas like any first edition has cold foils, and those alone could spike the price of a box, right? Valuable collectible that they cannot and will not reprint. Versus this, there's absolutely nothing in here that's sacrosanct. Like, there's nothing in any of these cases that they can't just reprint in another set or do something that would devalue it. So they're not safe. They are interesting and they are worth watching. And this is part of the reason I struggle with, do we even bother tracking these anymore? Obviously, with price spikes and things happening, it's worth keeping an eye on just to see how it plays out. Obviously, having the cases on my shelf, I'm curious what happens with them, but I just don't know how that plays in the long run, if it's worth it, because I think eventually they'll end up being like reprinted out or something. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. This is where we don't know. We don't have answers, so we'll figure it out. But for now, we'll keep watching it. But regardless, Monarch Unlimited doesn't seem like the safest place to park money. It's been on a downward pressure streak for a while. It did not hit its floor of 53, so that's kind of a good sign. It's upward momentum, generally speaking, even on the downturned week. Anyways, moving on to first edition, not much to report here. We have ARC first edition dropped 13%, which I find totally crazy with this spike in, unlimited. We're down to $1,000 a box. And granted, this is a TCG player. This box is going to look like it was a football, like someone was throwing it around and kicking it. Well, I don't know. It's not nice. I don't know who this seller is. Maybe it's a pristine box. I don't know for sure. I just, on TCG Player, you don't have pictures, so you have to assume it's the worst condition possible, and that's why it's going for cheap. Yeah. So anyways, that's very, very cheap for a first edition ARC. But that doesn't mean that it's a good price necessarily if the box is in terrible, terrible condition. So, like I've said before, I always look at eBay, Discord, etc., where you can actually interact with people. Everfest is down 6.5%. Nothing crazy there. This is Everfest coming off of map, I believe, because we got this 55 drop before. Came back up. I mean, we're going to see that. And Everfest, it was the last of the high print run. These three were the high print runs. So expect these to stay low for a long time. They just aren't going to appreciate very quickly, generally speaking. It's just not. They just have a lot of product out there. So anyways, it just came off of map, so it's hitting its low. I think the lowest it can go is like 49 is typically what we see as the bottom before things start to turn around and go up, which is what we saw with Ellie. And Monarch was a different story because that was the first edition, like, craziness. Eventually they will go up. Eventually supply will run out. Eventually demand will outpace it. I think the supplemental Everfest is a decent target for buys because despite having a massive supply, it does have cards for every class except Assassin. I think Crew is a harder sell, although it is older. It doesn't have as many classes in it, even though it's a supplemental set as well. I guess I should point at the Crew first edition. It is a very well-loved product, though. So this has a happy nostalgia kick to it called the Nostalgia Bonus. Whereas if you're looking at Everfest, I don't think we'll have the same happy nostalgia kick to it. Dynasty going now into this every other set thing, which I guess they're changing next year. There's going to be three draft sets. I don't know if that means there'll be two supplementals in between or if they're doing like 2 and 1 or what. But point being is Dynasty has all the cards, and I believe with each of these there's power creep, right? So this is more powerful than Crew, and this is more powerful than Everfest, and then we'll have another draft set. And again, I'm not sure on the pattern for next year. They've said, I believe I heard that they said they're coming out with a new pattern and it will have more draftable sets. I think they heard the crowd and that it gets stale drafting the same thing for 6 months, which I 100% agree with. We experienced that at our shop, and I'm happy that they're changing that. I just don't know what it means for the patterns of the market. So we'll figure that out as we get there. But 2.0 is doing well, and I like where that is heading and how that's working. All right, let's take a look at some of the market stuff. Not a whole lot to report. Everything seems pretty much where we left it last time. Surgical extraction came down a few bucks, so that's good. Finally, some supply hitting market. I think this is a mixture of supply and demand. I think it is a very good card stealing a card from hand, which I guess I could have seen that right away, but I didn't really care that much about Assassin. Everyone else was jumping on it, so I was looking at other things more closely. So it is, yes, a very good card. It is at cost 2, so I feel like it does balance itself pretty nicely. Like, it's not an unfair card or unbalanced card. Like, if you watch my video on the card math, it's not like crazy powerful, but it is good. But the thing that makes it, I think, so pricey, I think, is that people are not pulling it. We've seen in comments on Reddit threads we've posted. We posted one of our videos on Reddit and got a bunch of comments on it. We've seen it in comments to the videos. People are opening cases and cases and cases and getting like 1 or 2. And we're talking across like 13 boxes, 20 boxes, things like that. People are reporting pretty significant numbers and not seeing that many of them. So I think it is underprinted. I'm not sure how heavily underprinted. Some were saying it's at the level of rarity of a legendary, which if that's the case, then this is cheap because legendaries, well, I guess not, because some of these legendaries are actually cheap, right? Like, okay, so yeah, it's in the legendary range as far as market price goes. High demand legendary, high useful legendary. Bolton's not that high use. Yeah, I guess that's where it is. Yeah, interesting. So maybe it is. That's what the market's saying, at least. Interesting stuff. This is holding up as predicted. I did not think this would stay down long or at all. This is going to be my sad day because I'm not going to end up getting this for a reasonable price. I'm tempted to pull the trigger, but I want to stick with my initial thesis in that after the hype it's best. It looks like one sold for $2.99, but there's a picture attached, so I'm assuming it was damaged because that's really cheap for this. I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna wait. Hopefully it comes down. I doubt it will. Just as an example, the Blood of Drakai has not come down from its $2.29 price point. Is still sitting there, and we're in that way post hype period. Right, we're hype on the next set. And so I think that's going to be its floor. So I imagine this floor will probably be in the 300 max range, maybe early close small 400s, something like that, because it's a useful card and you want 3 of, right? So it's going to have a higher demand. I think this is a brilliant idea for Fable, by the way. I love the idea of reprinting a really awesome card with a gorgeous piece of art in a collectible, like frame it, put it on a wall sort of style. I love that. I think that's fantastic. I'm sad I can't just burn money to get it. I got all these other things I'm trying to buy. I will get it. I will try to get it at some point. I just don't know where. I will not be getting the Emperor, I doubt, because its price has not dropped down. We'll check the Marvels in a second. Angel has been all over the place, so it's listed at 600, but the last one sold was 375, so it is overpriced. I imagine this will come down over time. It looks like we had a few in the 550 range that sold. 500 seems reasonable at this time for people that absolutely have to have it now. I think we'll see it this price or lower in the future, especially since it's not a usable card. Well, okay, it's usable. It's just not like in its prime. It doesn't have a good Prism situation. Now, if Prism pops up in the next set as part of a preview, that's going to spike. It's going to go crazy, right? If she comes back, a Light Illusionist. So, that's how this game goes, right? Other one that I'm interested in is this Mechanoid. I really do like this card. I do want this. I think the price will come down a little bit. And when it comes down, I will probably pull the trigger on that early because I want this for my shelf. I want this as a piece of art for me to look at during the set, but I wasn't willing to pay the high price for it. And we know, generally speaking, it will go down as this set gets kind of stale and old. That will be the time I strike and put that on my shelf. I really was looking at art. I want Skullcracken full art. You think they're gonna do that in an armory kit? I hope they do because this art is epic, and seeing that in a full art, that I would put that on my wall. That would be cool. That would be cool. As expected, the cold foil tigers continuing to go down. Let's go ahead and type in Marvel. Oops, what the heck did I just do there? Oh God, hold on. Marvel. Does that work in Flesh and Blood? Yeah. Okay, cool. It has the dragons too, unfortunately. Here, let's just do Dynasty. We don't need to look at the dragons. The generics holding up. Everything else is slipping a little bit, but generally speaking, holding to 100. This is still holding to 1,000. I'm not going to be able to get that unless it really drops, which is possible because I don't know how. I mean, it's a collectible piece, but it's not really playable. Like people don't. It's not like Command and Conquer, right? So I don't know how long that will stay up that way. But it is a collectible and it is very rare, so I don't expect it to go too low. It's interesting though that this Marvel Legendary ends up being more expensive and more rare than the Fable. Well, is it more rare? We don't know, do we? Is it more rare? Let me know in the comments. They said 1 per 10,000 boxes. Yeah, it's got to be more rare, right? It's got to be more rare than the Fable. Yeah, than the Fable, Cold Foil Fable, the Command and Conquer full art. I think it is. Anyways, so yeah, these are coming down as expected. I fully expect these to drop probably to the 50 range or below, maybe down to the 20s, like the rare dragons. They're not exactly hard to come by, but they are a collectible piece. I mean, they are rare as far as like pulls, but I don't think they are at this level of rarity, right? And I certainly don't think they're Marvel Majestic Dragon rarity, right, which is that 150 range. So you're saying that these are only a third as valuable as the Majestics, even though all of these are rare items, right, if I recall correctly. Pretty sure they all are. And so with that in mind, it just seems like it would be less than this. These would drop down to what the rare dragons are because they are also rare Marvels, right? So in that 20 to 30 range, depending on usability. Obviously, Hanabi is going to be overpriced because it's highly usable. Everyone loves it. But like, I don't think Kimono's used. I don't think this is used. Rock will be, so that will probably stay up. This is obviously already low. So I expect this to lead the way to be the lowest. Tierra, we don't really have a good use case for it yet, I don't think. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. I have not been following Runeblade too closely. This is, from what I've heard, only good into the Ninja matchup. Could be wrong on that too if someone has another use case. This is not great from what I've heard. So I could see all these coming down with the exception of like Sand Scourer, Hanabi, and Rock. My understanding is that these three are interesting, fun, usable. I think Rock is kind of a meme. I think people just like the idea of a brute smashing people with a rock. Not that it's particularly good with the deck, just that it's funny. And that that adds there's a premium to laughs, right? Premium to lulls, as they say. So yeah, overall these are moving kind of as expected, and I will hold off, and I'm glad that I'm holding off. Let's jump into the charts. Do that real quick. Let's see here. I'm on the wrong chart. All right, WTR Unlimited, as we said, kind of the new plateau. We saw that last week, getting up there. It was up. It wasn't plateaued. Now it is plateaued. We'll see if it holds. Premium is intact. Moving on to ARC Unlimited. This is the interesting one. Note we do have a bit of an arbitrage opportunity here, but it's not particularly high. It's $5 at this point and less at this point, but you're seeing this upward pressure across the board. The whole thing's spiking up. Most volatile period. We don't know what that's going to do. It could come back down. So hold on to your hats for that one. Crew has the premium intact. Nothing really special here. Kind of sideways with a little upward pressure. Mon, we know is the downward pressure, and now there's a $14 ARB opportunity. So this is probably a good chance if you're one of those that can get a case for cheaper or something like that. Buy case, crack, sell box. The math is pretty much in your favor with shipping and fees covered by the customer, sort of thing. Tales of Aria, nothing, just boring. It's unlimited, and there's no Everfest Unlimited. All right, first edition. This was pretty quiet, so there's not much to report here. Everything stayed flat, and our ARB opportunity is still here at $274, give or take. It's still pretty good, but that's talking about cracking a case of WTR first edition and selling the boxes, which is unrealistic. The premium's intact now for, okay, so that's probably where that drop came from. It was from the case price drop. It's matching the case price to keep the premium intact. That seems to be what's going on with that. It could be a drop kick box too, though. Premium came back for crew. Nothing really special there. Kind of sideways, generally speaking, but the case premium is back. Monarch, what a funny chart. We're settling in a new low. And let's keep going. Tales of Aria still in the sideways. Premium's re-intact. And let's, if I can get it to work, Everfest. Downward trend, as we said. Map falling out. Premium's gone. ARB opportunity of $2. Not worth it. And then Uprising is just Uprising. This is probably just all map stuff. All right, cool. Well, that's it for this. If you like the content, hit subscribe, like, leave a comment. Love to hear from you. Love to hear what your thoughts are on Marvels and what you're collecting, what you love. I hope you're out there cracking packs, playing games, having fun, enjoying this hobby of ours. And until next time, have a good one.